Perfect. So good evening, everyone. Let me turn my chat off a little bit. Welcome to our transition
we can hear you.
to middle. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so welcome to our transition to middle school workshop for parents. I'm going to start with introducing myself a little bit. My name is Nancy Molina, and I am the Assistant Coordinator for Community Outreach, and I work in our Family and Community Engagement Office down at the district. A little bit about our
Disculpe,
office.
su traducción se está cortando y no se está entendiendo nada.
Give us one moment while we have some of our parents. Señora Flores, oprimió el botón. Oh. ¿Me escucha a mí, Nancy, o a Diana?
A usted.
Oh, ok, entonces tiene que oprimir el botón para que puedan hacer la interpretación. Y normalmente hay un globo abajito en la barra negra.
Sí, ya lo hice y también la estaba escuchando. Además, solo lo que le comento que ella, su traducción solo estaba como cortando y diciendo palabras, pero sí la escucho muy bien.
Ok, gracias. Okay, sorry about that, everyone, just some technical difficulties. Okay, so a little bit about our office. So we really try to partner with our parents to bring workshops that apply to some of your interests. This one being one of them. We have mental health workshops. We have a transition to high school next week. We have some transition to kindergartens in the coming weeks. And so I'll provide a little bit more details towards the end of our deck. But we're going to go ahead and get started, and I would like to introduce Ms. Milnes. So I have the privilege of introducing Ms. Milnes. She is one of the most amazing teachers that I know. I actually worked with her at Octavia E. Butler. I will give her the opportunity to introduce herself, but we are very, very lucky and fortunate to have her here to be able to walk us through what the middle school years look like. So Ms. Milnes, I'll go ahead and kick it off to you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Hi, my name is Frances Milnes, and as Nancy mentioned, I am a teacher over at Octavia Butler Middle School. I teach 7th grade English, but before that, I taught 6th grade English and history as well. And a little bit about myself. I've taught in the school district for 27. This is my 27th year. So strange. To be saying that. And on top of it, Nancy was there when I had my own child over at Octavia Butler. And so I took my kid through the middle school transition. So I know what it feels like to transition your child from elementary school to middle school and all the different things that are going to be going through your mind and your kids' minds as you move along. So if Nancy, if you could forward the slide, that'd be great. All right, so the first thing, it's always logistical. It's always logistical. Kids are thinking to themselves, oh my gosh, it's middle school and I'm going to have so many classes, and where are all my classes, and where am I going to eat, and where am I going to go to the bathroom? Actually, the bathroom is probably the first thing they're thinking. And then what if I get lost, right? So one of the things that, okay, first of all of the middle schools in Pasadena, I believe, offer a time period before school starts to go through and look at the school. I know at Octavia Butler, we call it Bear Days. And the kids come and they get their schedule, they walk through, and the way most of the schools do it is they kind of space out stations so that you can walk with your student, walk with your child through the campus so they don't have that shock of like, oh my gosh, first day, what am I going to do? A lot of the parents will will walk their kids. They'll look at the schedules and walk their kids to the classes. A lot of the times the schools try to keep the classes pretty much in the same area. Like at OEB, we have all our 6th grade classes, core classes in the same area. 7th grade is in the same corridor, and 8th grade is outside, also in the same area. Of course, electives are different, and the kids will have to learn, how to get to PE and their elective. But for the most part, most of the schools try to keep the kids in the same area. It just makes it easier for them. Please, 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 if you can make it to one of these events, do it. Schedule the time, take the time to walk through the school, map out everywhere that your kid needs to go over the bell schedule, and then also, most of the time during these events, they will have like a PE representative who will, they'll talk about what the clothes are, what clothes they need to wear, if they need to wear a certain kind of clothes, or if they have it on sale, they'll sell it at these pre-days, so that before school starts, you'll have, the school clothes to wear in PE. This is a really, really hard time, and especially for 6th grade. As a 6th grade teacher, because I taught elementary school before this, and when you're in 6th grade or when you're in 5th grade, you're the big kids on campus. You're the big kids, you know everything. And then when you come to middle school, the kids, they end up outside of our classrooms. And I remember the first year I taught at Washington, former Washington, and I would say, why are all the kids outside my class? And the teachers who were there before me would say, well, because all the other kids are so big, they don't know what to do, and it's a little intimidating. So, the 6th grade teachers know this, and they'll open their doors and let them come in and allow them to, have that little safe spot, especially in the morning, because kids are wandering about, and the older kids know each other, or at least have a set friend group. And sometimes, like my kid came to school and there was nobody from her school that went to our school. And so, but later on we found out that there was one. But it was a little lonely on that first day. And we had to try to make sure that that the kids, felt like they were in a safe spot where they could just kind of sit and just breathe on those first couple of weeks. And it takes a while. So don't think that it's just going to go away after the first day. It usually takes a couple of weeks for the kids to settle into the routine. Yeah, go ahead, Nancy. Thank you. Social fears. These are huge. So if they have friends that are going to the school, they're worried about whether or not they're going to keep those friends, if they're still there. And am I gonna make new friends? Where am I gonna sit, or where am I supposed to sit? And how am I going to interact with the kids? A lot of the schools have mixer areas where they go out and they can mix with all the different grade levels. The grades may be, separated for their classes, but there's usually a communal area where the kids can mix, and there's always, staff outside, and the staff at the schools always, know the older kids, and it just helps to transition them out into getting nutrition, getting food, because sometimes the kids are so hesitant in the first couple of weeks that that they won't venture out to get food. So you might want to, if you get a chance to give them a little snack so that they have a snack and they don't have to go out, that's a good idea too. I gave my kid snacks for the first couple of weeks, and then Elsie ended up just wanting them every day, but that's fine too. Okay. But one of the things for us to remember as parents is that encourage things that end up being routine. Kids really work well with routine. So if before school starts, if you can go with another kid or partner up with another parent and take both of the kids so that they can kind of plan where to go, where to meet, things like that, so that, and even compare, because the kids will compare their schedules, they can find when they have classes together, especially with their friends, and it makes them, it settles them in their hearts. And that's what we want. We want them to be calm and we want them to be excited, but we want them to be excited to be in middle school, but not be anxious, because we want them learning, and we all do. So it really, really helps if you find out if there are extracurricular activities. Perhaps there's learns at the campus. The kids can play sports. There's usually some sort of, art or music. At OAB, we have Glee and we have different music that's after school. But all the schools, I believe, Nancy, all the schools have learns. So they have teams, and it's really fun too, to go and see the teams play each other after school. So they play each other after school, and they have championships and things, and it's lots and lots of fun. You want to make sure that kids get time to see their friends. Now, my child made friends at our school, but still made time for her friends that went to other schools. And as a result, now that my child is no longer at our school, Elsie's at Mura now, but still sees her friends from elementary school and has kept those friendships, which has been really, really dear to her heart. So try to encourage some of those friends that maybe don't go to the same middle school to see each other, have play dates, whatever they call them now. I mean, they're still play dates to me, but kids get older and they're like, it's not a play date. It's we're going to hang out, mother, right? So these are all really important things, because kids are learning how to become themselves during this time, and they're just trying to figure things out. And sixth grade is those first couple of weeks, even into the first month, we just really need to support them as much as possible. All right, Nancy. Academics, oh my goodness. So it's kind of a balance here, because the kids come to school and they're not used to having so many teachers. So it's really, really important that kids come with an understanding of, okay, I'm going to have these different classes, and I might even have 6 different teachers. Most kids will have at least 4 different teachers in 6th grade. Some will have 6. And I don't think that once the kids get going, it's not about the schoolwork being difficult. It's about time management and being organized. So a lot of times the kids get thrown off in the first couple of weeks because they have a lot of classes to manage and the homework and things like that. So one thing that teachers and parents need to partner on is finding a system where we can help the students manage their time and their time, not just at school, but at home too, so that they have time to do homework. A lot of the schools offer things like agendas. At our school, we give every student an agenda to write down their homework. And we encourage kids to keep a notebook with organized sections for each core class. And that helps to be able to just help keep them organized. And also that agenda or that organizer is a great way to communicate with your teachers, with your kids' teachers, because you can see what the homework is, you can see if they have homework or if they've finished it, and sometimes even I have parents who will write notes on the agenda, was this done, or so on and so forth. And the student can say, oh, there's a note from my parent, from my mom, from my dad here. And it's a great way to just kind of communicate. There's always email and stuff like that, but it's a great way to teach them how to write down and take and make sure that they're organized with their work. That's the big part of sixth grade, is really getting them to organize their time and their tasks. I cannot say enough about Parent Portal. I can, as a teacher and as a parent. Parent Portal is a lifesaver. My kid is at a different school now. Before, I could watch and see what was going on with my child, but now my child's over at Muir, but I still get from the Parent Portal, I have a grade report delivered every week. At the end of the week on Friday at 3 o'clock, I get a grade report delivered to me showing my students' grades, what's missing, what's not missing, everything, so that I can have a conversation. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be something that's stressful. Hey, I noticed, I noticed that you're missing an assignment in English. Do you want to talk to me about that? And sometimes it's just that that assignment has been done, but the teacher hasn't graded it yet. But it gives you the opportunity to communicate with your child, and but having that information, so nobody's surprised, right? Because nobody likes a surprise, right? Unless it's a surprise A. I know I like surprise A's too. So I cannot say enough of that. If you're not on Parent Portal already, please, please, please contact the school that your child will be going to, and make sure that happens. Most of the schools have community assistants, yes, and people who can help and assist there. Also, last thing is, it's so important to encourage. I do this with my kid, even though I'm a teacher, I do this with my kid. And the first thing I always say when there's something that's going wrong academically is, have you emailed your teacher? Right? This is an important thing for kids to learn, because eventually we want them to be independent, right? And so that's always the go-to with me before I ask anything, after, hey, what's going on with this missing assignment? Oh, well, my teacher hasn't graded it yet. Have you emailed them? Because maybe they haven't seen that it's been turned in, right? And teachers, and I always tell my students to do this in our advisory at our school. I advise my students to always look at their grades once a week. And if something doesn't seem right, to email the teacher, because teachers appreciate the fact sometimes things get missed. And sometimes, that's just the one, remember, teachers have like 100 and something kids, most of them. So that's a lot of kids to grade, especially for an English teacher, just saying. But it's really, really important. It's, like I said, it's not about the work getting more difficult. It's about managing all the different pieces, the multiple teachers, multiple pieces of homework, bringing it all back. Where do I put it? Things like that. So you can help by going through their backpack, or just help to teach them how to organize. It's a life skill, right? So academics, really quickly, you'll have an English class, you'll have a math class, you'll have a science class. In sixth grade, you'll have ancient civilizations, which is their history, a PE class. And then there are different electives that are offered at different schools. So check into the different electives. Right? And I'm done, right? I'm not done? Wait. Oh, yes, there we are. Okay, the counselor's role. Okay, so the different schools, I got messed up here. The different schools have different academics, and so we have different specialties. Elliott is an arts magnet. McKinley has arts and summer learning and math academy. Sierra Madre is dual language and has the math academy. Octavia Butler, that's us over here at Bears. We're STEAM Academy. We have dual language. We also have math academy, Glee, and other music programs. Blair is an IB and a Spanish dual language as well. And Marshall has the Academy for Creative Industries. Honors. So if your student is placed in an honors class, it's usually done by three different pieces of data. It's the SBAC, the MDTP, and then also their sixth grade, or their grades from fifth grade. But sometimes kids don't get placed into the honors group. And I just want you to know that within the first couple weeks of school, there usually is a sort of an adjustment. Teachers get a chance to know the kids. And then what the counselors do, and I know that's another slide, but what the counselors do is they will contact the teachers and say, hey, are there any students that you would recommend for honors class? And we will do that. We kind of talk as a grade level and see if it will fit in with your child's schedule, because sometimes your child really wants to be in music, but that music class is offered at the same time as their honors English class. And sometimes it's just more important to your kid to be in that music class, and that's okay. Right, but it's really up to the student. If the student doesn't want to do that, I'm a parent too, and I wouldn't push my kid to give up something that they really wanted, if just to be in an honors class, because I think that most teachers would understand that that's a fun thing, and kids need to do fun things at school too. All right. So, grades. Yes. So there's the grading periods. Okay, so the grades will be found on Parent Portal, and you can keep track of them. As I said, sign up for that weekly grading report, and that eliminates any sort of hassle pretty much. But you need to know that in middle school, you have 8 progress reports. Okay, so about every 4 to 5 weeks, we send a progress report home. Only the last one counts, right? So you, at the end of the first semester, which is right before we leave for right at winter break, that will be the end of the first semester, and then at the end of the year. So even if your child doesn't do as well as they want to in a subject in that first grading period, they have 3 more grading periods to improve. And those grading, and on the Parent Portal, it will say grades are, you'll get a little message that says grades are available, and you can see the final grades. And they are permanent. So just remember that they go on the student's permanent record. So that last grade for each semester. Okay. All right, Nancy. Right. So bell schedule. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you need to prepare your kids for the passing period. Now, passing periods are different. The timing is different at different schools. At Octavia Butler, we have 4 minutes to get from one class to the next. At some other schools, it's 5 minutes, right? So kids need to know, and this is another reason why schools have a tendency to put the core classes in the same area so that the kids can get to their classes on time. But there are cases, like at our school, our 6th graders are in one area far, far away from the PE area. So they've kind of got to do that fast walk to get to PE to change. And then after that, if they don't have lunch or nutrition, they got to do the fast walk back. So I know that happened to my kid in 6th grade. Elsie had first period and then had to go all the way over to PE and then all the way back for the next one. And so there was a lot of walking there. So you need to prepare them for that and just tell them, don't run, but we want to be safe, but make sure that that you get to class on time, and they'll get used to it. It just takes a little bit of time, and teachers know, especially 6th grade teachers know, and they give them grace when it comes to that, because they'll just remind them, you got to move a little faster, chat faster or walk faster or whatever. So they'll have 2 classes, and they usually have a nutrition in the morning. That period may be 10 minutes at some schools. At our school, it's 15 minutes, and that's because our passing periods are shorter. So our nutrition break is a little bit longer. So we have 15 minutes nutrition. And then after 4th period, they have a lunch period, and that's 30 minutes. Just remember, Mondays are short, and they get out early. I think in all middle schools, they get out early, right? They don't start late. That's high school. Attendance is so important. The kids will be marked tardy if they're late after the tardy bell. Now, another thing that happens at schools is they have warning bells, right? So there'll be a bell that rings a minute before the tardy bell, right? So that first bell is the bell for them to, like, if they're not where they need to be there. Sometimes I have students who are down the hall in my 7th grade hallway, and they're supposed to be with me, and I'll say 60 seconds in the hallway, and then they'll come over until they understand that that's actually like a little warning bell. Get to your class, get your bottom in the seat on time. When it's otherwise they're marked tardy. If a student is more than 20 minutes late, that tardy turns to a late. And if the student cuts class, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen to any of yours, but if the student cuts class, even if they're on campus, they will be marked absent. So you need to remember that all these things end up kind of being poured into truancy, and eventually a truancy letter will be mailed out if you have too many tardies or too many lates. So you want to keep on them, watch their tardies on their in parent portal as well. You can watch and listen for those, robocalls home if they say, your student was absent, right? Because then you can question them. Sometimes teachers make mistakes, and then, it's happened to me before where the child will come to me the next day and say, Ms. Milnes, you marked me absent. And I'll be like, oh no, but you were tardy. I forgot to change it from absent to tardy. My bad, right? And then I'll change it and it'll get fixed. But we just need to make sure that the kids are at school on time. And we know life happens, especially in the morning, but really, really try to get your kids to school on time. Counselors, they schedule the classes, they monitor the academics. So if children are not doing as well as they should be, if we're worried that maybe they won't get to attend promotion, they'll call them in and counsel them. And that all goes into, it feeds into that whole idea of being eligible to promote in 8th grade. As a teacher who's taught 7th graders who are now 8th graders, a lot of those 8th graders are in my advisory class, and I tell them all the time, my one thing that I want to do for you is make sure that you participate in that promotion ceremony, because it's important to the people that you love. It's important to you too. So we have to make sure that they are eligible for promotion, and that means they have to meet certain criteria. And the counselor does a lot of that. They'll meet with them, pull them out if it's unsure whether or not they're going to be eligible for promotion. They do counseling. They talk to them about going to school and their future. They do peer mediation if there are some issues. If there's any need for mental health services, they can do referrals. And they also conduct the student support team meetings and the 504 meetings. And is this my last slide? This is my last slide, right? Okay, so this is an important thing. It's hard for sixth grade parents to remember this because you're so focused on getting your kid in that middle school, and it's a big transition, not just for them, but for you as well, because your kid's growing up and you're like, my kid's growing up in the middle school. But we really need to focus in on seventh grade and eighth grade. There are contracts, and those contracts need to be fulfilled in order to promote, to go through that promotion ceremony, right? So we want to keep the Fs non-existent if possible, but in seventh grade, no more than 2 Fs, no book fines in the library, and the community service. 20 hours of community service. But the community service doesn't need to be completed until the 8th grade years. It's also really, really nice. I have 7th graders who are working on their community service now because they're like, I want to get it done. So yeah, that's like one check. They can't have U's, so no more than 2 U's, and that is in their citizenship or in their work habits. Okay, so usually a student who fails might get a U in their work habits because they're not doing their work, right? So we want to watch those citizenship grades as well. Make sure that these go into the period absences. That's 10 days of excused or unexcused per semester. That means 20 days total. That's a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot. That's 4 weeks total for the year. And then no more than 15 tardies. Now, a lot of schools will offer ways for students to make up those things, but it varies from school to school. That's called credit recovery. Those are things that are offered for kiddos because we want them all to be successful and promote. Similarly, in 8th grade, same thing, getting those 20 hours and trying not to get any Fs on their report cards. So these are things that you need to know as 6th grade parents coming in, that they're coming, and 6th grade really prepares. If we have a solid 6th grade year, then 7th and 8th grade, they kind of ease into it, and then doing these things is pretty easy. Okay, so I hope that I answered some questions and alleviated some stress. As a parent, you'll get through it. I got through it. If I can get through it, anybody can get through it, right? Because I actually taught her and taught the rest of the kiddos too. So, but if you have any questions, I'm at Octavia Butler, and I will gladly answer any questions. And Nancy, you can give out my email. I do not have a problem with that.
Thank you, Ms. Milnes. If you're able to stay through the thing, that would be great, so we can do questions at the end.
I'll be here.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to move on to one of our partners. So we actually partner with a nonprofit organization called College Access Plan. Unfortunately, they had some additional workshops that they're running with students right now, and so they were not able to pop into our workshop, but I want to go through the slides because I feel like it's really, really important. And some families and students like to get a head start on things. And so having this information, kind of like just the tools available, doesn't hurt. So let's go here. So CAP, which is College Access Plan, they offer free college readiness support for families and students. Anyone and everyone is welcome, and there are absolutely no requirements to attend. They do have 2 different programs. They have like a middle school program and a high school program. So let's see here. So this is the middle school overview. So they help preparing for college starts in middle school. They offer this 9-week course, and it's actually available for students to start. So that usually happens in the fall. Students do have to sign up for this program in particular, and the program prepares them for high school success. They start to explore colleges and different career opportunities. They learn about themselves, and they actually participate in a lot of fun activities. Some of those activities do involve going to some college visits already in middle school. So the way that this one works, I'm looking at my notes because they kind of gave me some notes on the side. So they usually pick 3 schools in the fall and 3 schools in the springtime to cover the 9-week class. And so this is kind of just a sample of what it looks like or what it looked like for this school year that we're currently in. So if you could see here for fall, these were the 3 different schools at which the 9-week program started. And then they had the QR code to be able to sign up, for the students to be able to sign up. And then spring, we are doing it at McKinley, Butler, and Sierra Madre Middle School. And once again, the students meet together once a week with CAP on their school campuses, and it's a 9-week program. This slide kind of just gives you a little bit of what is offered in high school. And it's more of a drop-in type of a workshop where students are able to drop in. And this one in particular, you'll see at this flyer for this current school year that we're in, any grades 9 through 12, students could stop in on Mondays and Wednesdays and Tuesdays and Thursdays between 3:45 and 5:45. And the dates and the times at the schools vary. And so they do have an actual website for any parents that might happen to be on here that have any students in high school. This is available for them currently right now. You don't need to register for the high school drop-in program like you do for the middle school 9-week program. This is a little bit of what each of these buckets. So at middle school, they offer daytime and after school college prep. They're topic-specific workshops, and they're all around college and career exploration. For high school, they offer the drop-in after school, financial aid and college support, college application support, I'm sorry. And they also do have some courses in which students can enroll in to help prepare them write their college essays and just basic college 101 material. For family engagement, they have college knowledge, financial aid, and transition to college support. They hold them in workshops, webinars, presentations, and they will also do one-on-one presentations if there's any family that would prefer that type of communication with them. They would also be able to do that. And for the college success, so this is an invitation only for high school CAP students. So it's a one-on-one through college support. They access to partner scholarships through workshops, socials, and peer-to-peer engagement. This one I thought was really cool because when we were discussing it, they kind of take you through the whole process from beginning to end, and they really help you with how to apply for financial aid. What does it mean when you're applying to a UC system, when you're going to a Cal State system? So their services are really amazing, and it's all completely free to all of our students. Here are different ways that you can connect with CAP or follow them if you're interested in finding out more information. And these are their upcoming workshops. So for understanding financial aid and offers, so again, this is more geared towards high school, but in the event that any of you have any students in high school, this would be a great workshop for you to attend. And you do have to register. The QR code is right at the bottom. And then they have that tiny URL that you can also plug into your web address in case you don't want to do the QR code. And then the one right next to it, they have what they call the Experience Berkeley Virtual Family Info Session. So that's actually going to be held tomorrow, and they have an English and a Spanish session. This one's really cool too. This one is for sophomores and juniors in high school. And this one will be specific to the UC system. And I believe what they do is they'll be, UC Berkeley, yeah, they'll be getting a presentation and working with someone who is already a UC Berkeley student. So they will offer that tomorrow if you wanted to gather any additional information. And then these are the young ladies that you will see around school campuses or that your students will engage with. We have Natasha, Wendy, and Karina. And then here is their contact info. What I will do is at the end of this presentation, I will go over where you could find this information, because we will post it on our website. So that way you could always refer back to it in case you have any questions. Okay, and then without further ado, we will connect with one of our other amazing partners, Ms. Laura Diaz, who represents Penn. And I'll let her kind of guide us into how we work together and how we partner together.
Great, thank you, Nancy. Is it okay if I share my screen? I think you'll have to let me do that. I need permission. Let's try again. Nope. Oh, here we go.
Is this the slide? Is it the 3 slides that I have?
No, I was trying to share my screen.
I don't know if Jeff's on. He'll be the one to be able to do it since he's
That's okay. If he's on, he'll let me know.
Okay.
Okay, well, hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Diaz-Allen. I am the Director of Parent Engagement for Pasadena Education Network. I am also a parent in the district whose kids started, kindergarten here. And I actually came to PUSD because of a friend that was affiliated with Penn. So what I just wanted to let you know a little bit about what we do in case you are not familiar with us. If you are a member, if you don't mind just putting a little, thumbs up or something on your screen, or just, giving a little wave or something, if you're a Penn member and get our newsletters. I'm looking to see if anybody is. If you're not, that's fun because we get to tell you all about it. Okay, I see a couple of people. Good. So what we are is we are a grassroots organization. It was started by local parents who started meeting in 2003. And by 2006, they had actually formed a nonprofit. And what they were trying to do back then is they had heard that PUSD was not a great place to send their children. And they just weren't sure that that was entirely true. And they didn't want to send their kids to a private school if they didn't have to. They didn't want to pay for it. So they started going to our local schools. They started asking for schools to do tours. So the tours, if you've gone to a school tour, that was Penn parents that pushed for it and started in the beginning facilitating them. Now they're on the schools to do. They also started to gather data about the schools. This is before you could go, and the state of California had data on each of the schools and all that. We didn't have that. So they started putting together data sheets. They started doing a calendar of activities. So a lot of things that now just seem kind of like, of course, were started by these original Penn parents. So we've been around for a little bit, and we as a staff have grown with our families. Our children have gone through PUSD, and we put together programs that serve the needs of parents as our children grow, right? So originally we started putting together transition to kindergarten programs. We, even before the Family Resource Center did them, we started doing that. Now we partner with Family Resource Center to do these programs so that they bring kind of more the academic piece usually, and we will do, when necessary, we will do more of a parent's perspective, like what you can do at home to support your child so that they're ready to learn. So then we also have transition to middle school programs, transition to high school, and now there, yeah, I'll get to that in a sec. And now we have actually some college programs. So tomorrow we are hosting a program for parents to understand how their children can prepare to eventually go to college. So yes, this is, let me see, Explore Sec. So this is just one of the examples of our programs. So Explore Secondary, we basically focus on the big picture, either for middle school or high school, ask parents to think about what questions they want to ask on a tour, what's important to them. And we also have something that's kind of unique, which is that we have parent panels. We've done this for years so that parents are not just hearing from a school's principal, which is super important, or from staff, but they're hearing from other parents. They can ask questions and feel like the answers that they're getting while, kind of limited to a particular group of parents' perspective and lived experiences, is, their truth. So let's see, what else did I want to tell you? I wanted, if I can, if Jeff is back now, he's not back. Oh, well. I wanted to walk you through our website, but what I'll do is I'll put a link on the chat so that you can follow it. I would love to see you sign up to get our newsletter. We send them out every Monday with news about the district, programs that we know about, opportunities, our own programs for middle school, and then for high school. If we hear that parents are wanting a specific kind of thing in terms of, how do I, whatever, then we'll just put together a program. A few years ago, we developed one in which we were talking about the teenage brain, and it was a lot of fun because we were trying to get parents to understand what it is like to be a young teen, and trying to get them to remember, what were you like at that age, and, did you have pimples? Did you have BO? Were you upset at your parents all the time? Just really trying to understand so that they can parent their children with that sense of emotional connection. So we also, my background is in child clinical psychology. So we talk a lot about the brain and how it develops and how, sometimes it seems like our kids are going backwards. It's like, well, you could just organize yourself last year and all of a sudden you just can't seem to remember anything. What's going on? Well, the brain is developing in some ways and taking a little backseat in other ways. So that is what, okay, good. So that is what we do. If you have questions about any of the middle schools, want to connect with a parent, that is one of our specialties. We can connect you with a parent at a school that may have a child that's kind of like yours, and then you can, exchange information or just, get ready together. So I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat. I think that's all I wanted to say, other than, we're just partnering with the Family Resource Center. And so as the need arises or parents ask us for things, we figure out how to deliver that and who will do which piece. Thank you so much. I hope that you learned a lot. And you know what? Oh, yeah. Yes. Thank you, Nancy. So one really fun way in which we fund our work is we have a poker night in the fall. And then we have a wine tasting event in April. And we honor parent volunteers and parent engagement superstars. So this year we're honoring these parents on the screen, and we would love to have you join us. It's a great opportunity to meet parents. We're all about building community, right? And so for me, the friends that I have now, for the most part, are people that I've met through my kids' school, and it just becomes your extended family. So come drink with us. And if you don't drink, we usually have something else. We have water and maybe juice. It's a lot of fun. So I think that's all I wanted to say, and I'm around for questions.
Thank you, Laura. I am just going to share one more slide with some additional links. I realize that you will not be able to click on these links now, I don't think. But like I said, I will actually post this presentation on our website. And this last page here actually provides different links on how you can access some of our information. We've been working very, very hard in our department this school year to try to facilitate the ease of being able to access different items. And so the first link is just to our website, which is still being redone. It takes a lot of work and hours. And so I'm doing my best to try to change it as we go and just have a better access. Whoops, I accidentally pressed something. Let me go back. The second link there is what we call our Parent University. So I kind of put it on the chat. If once you access our website, you'll be able to see on the left-hand side, Parent University. And so it's a different location where we hold a lot of our old, I'll say old workshops. So we hold workshops throughout the entire school year, like I had mentioned previously. And so if for some reason, you hadn't had a chance to attend any of them, but you'd like to see some of the workshops that have been presented, please feel free to go into Parent University, and you'll be able to click on past or previous workshops, and all the videos will be posted there, along with additional information such as presentation decks. And then if there's any additional resources that were provided during that specific workshop, you will be able to see there as well. The third link is for our community calendar. So what we've done is we've created kind of like a community calendar where if schools send us different opportunities that are happening, not just at school sites, but within the community, we try to put it up in our community calendar. So that is a direct link to the calendar, but you can also access the calendar through our Instagram page. And then the last link is our resource list. So that is just maybe I think it's about 3 or 4 pages long of community partners and relationships that we've built over the years within Pasadena. You can find anything from tutoring opportunities, mental health opportunities, shelter, food, clothing, just whatever you can think of, you'll be able to find in the list. And just as Laura mentioned, I think our goal is also making sure that whatever it is that our parents and families need, that we do our absolute best to meet those needs. And so if there is anything in particular that any of you would like a workshop on or just information on, please feel free to email us directly. These are some of the ladies that make up our family and engagement community office. And that little picture on the left, when you log into our Parent University, that is what you will see. So you'll see that little deck with our Bitmojis. And then if you click on Parent University, that'll take you directly to some of those previous workshops that we've had. So I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Ms. Milnes and Ms. Laura. And I'll open it up for questions from families. So if you have a question, feel free to just unmute yourself and ask away, and then we'll do our best to answer that. If you prefer to ask a question in the chat, I'm also looking at the chat. And then Diana, let us know if there's any parents there that might. Oh, Stuart.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for this information. I kind of got on a little bit late, but my son is going to be going into middle school. He's going to be going into 6th grade next year. And yes. I missed a part about the grades. Could you tell me a little bit more when the grades are going to come out?
Yes, I'll actually go back to that slide as well.
Yes,
so
indeed. I can take that, Stuart.
Okay, thank you.
So grades come out 4 times per semester. So your son will receive 4 progress reports about every 5 weeks, basically. So there's about 20 weeks in a semester, roughly. And so about every 5 weeks, if you're on, are you on Parent Portal?
You know what? I haven't been on the portal yet.
Okay. It's okay.
I'll jump on it.
Try to get on it, because that's really a great way as a parent who saw her child go through middle school in front of me, right? She came to my school, right? It's really, really helpful to kind of really keep the communication going, but you'll see the progress reports every 5 weeks. And the last one of each semester is the one that sticks in their record, right? So right around winter break and then at the end of the year. But it's really nice to be able to see, you're going to see the first progress report is going to be like, they're going to all do really well, and that's, and the kids kind of are like, woof, I'm doing it, I'm getting the grades. And then all of a sudden, the new material comes in and their grades will dip a little bit and then they'll come back up because they're balancing their act at that point.
Okay.
But
Okay.
expect 8 progress reports in the year, once about every 5 months. So basically about once a month, have a talk with your son, you know, just kind of go over the grades. And I just pull my kid over, and talk with her every week. I get a progress report from the portal, and I just say, hey, tell me about your grades, right? And it just makes it so much easier, you know, when those progress reports come. Okay.
Okay.
And then-
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Laura. I'll chime after you.
Just a little quick, you know, kind of as a parent perspective, you know, it's not that the grades matter for college at this point, right? But they matter in terms of, first of all, they reflect what the student is learning, right? And a lot of these things are foundational. So if they don't get something, you know, then the next thing's going to be harder, and the next thing's going to be harder. And they also matter in terms of, like, you know, just a student's sense of who they are. You know, I am a good student versus, you know, I'm a flaky kind of student. So I don't know. For me, my kids would say, why does it matter? You know, so we had to talk a lot about that, and also about how they reflected habits that they were forming that are really important for life. So just wanted to add that as a parent perspective.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And then I just actually wanted to chime in on the parent portal piece.
Mhm.
So most, as Ms. Milnes kind of alluded to at the beginning of the presentation, so our middle schools will have some type of registration day, like the week before school starts. Depending on the mascot, it's usually like the mascot's name, and then they'll call it days. And during those registration days, you'll have access to the school. Sometimes they'll be able to provide the class schedule, you'll receive textbooks, and on that day, you can also meet with your community assistant. So every school site has a community assistant, and they are able to help you and provide the code that you will need to be able to download Parent Portal on your phone. So I know in elementary, Parent Portal is not used very broadly, but once you get into middle school, Parent Portal is going to be very, very important and critical. You'll be able to see their grades, their progress reports, attendance. You can actually also email your teachers directly from the Parent Portal. Oh no, you can't. Ms. Milnes is telling me you cannot. I thought I was on the other. Okay, never mind. She wasn't talking to me.
I was looking at the chat. Sorry, Nancy.
Oh, okay. Yes, you will be able to email your teachers directly from Parent Portal. And there is a code that each of you will need, and the code does differ from child to child. So even if you have multiple children in middle school, it'll be a different verification code. The community assistant will be able to provide that to you with essentially like instructions on how to download the app and how to log in for your first time.
Okay. I am born and raised in Chicago.
Okay.
And we don't have quote unquote middle school. It was elementary and then high school. So what is considered middle school? 5th through 6th or 4th through 6th or what?
It's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
6th, 7th, and 8th. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And depending, we do have a couple schools who are like they go through from kindergarten through 8th grade.
Right.
And then we have some that are 6th grade through 12th grade. I think we have one of each, or two of one and one of one. But yeah, we have 3 schools total. But some of the other, like I think Octavia Butler and Elliott, I think that's about it. Those and Sierra Madre are all just 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Okay. All right, good. Well, see, he's not going to be in 6th grade till next semester. So, but this is good information beforehand.
Yeah, of course. It's never too early to start getting ready.
That's true. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for your question. I had a question in the chat, and it says, will they keep their Chromebooks, and do they keep their current PUSD emails? So they will not keep their Chromebooks from elementary. What typically happens is, I think in 5th grade, they end up turning them in. And then once they come into 6th grade, they will be handed Chromebooks between the 1st and 2nd week of school at their school sites. And they do keep their PUSD email. Thank you, Adriana. Yes, Ms. Laura?
I think I just wanted to add, you may not remember kinder, but there's a little bit of chaos the first couple of weeks. Sometimes, it's okay. It all smooths out. Same thing happens in high school. Sometimes kids need to drop classes, or they're in the wrong place, or they don't, they can't get their locker to work if they have a locker. And it's okay. By the third week of school, it's usually kind of all figured out. So just be a little patient with your children the first few weeks, and give the staff a chance to kind of get it all together. Just a heads up.
Do either of you have any tips for kids transitioning with an IEP from an elementary school to a middle school?
Okay, so I know right now that I'm working with our STC teacher and with our RSP teacher for transitioning kids. So basically what happens is there should be some sort of transitional meeting that goes on in between whoever is handling your child's case at their current school, and then who will be handling that case in middle school. So there's usually a transition meeting. I know because I've been asked to go to a bunch of them to meet the new sixth graders coming in as a general education teacher. That would be the first stop. And then the next one is get to know your team. Get to know your RSP teacher. Sometimes there's more than one at middle school because depending on how many students they need to service. So they will divide the kids and the caseloads between the RSP teachers. And if the student is in an SDC class, then you'll have the SDC teacher or teachers. Like at our school, we have an SDC teacher who teaches English and history, and the other one teaches math and science. So they'll have two separate teachers for that. But also, if the child is receiving RSP support, then get to know the RSP teacher, make an appointment, see who's good, see who it is, email them, reach out, and then also, as the kids come in, the teachers are given the IAPs and the 504s and so on and so forth of the students who are in our classes as well. So don't be shy about talking about those things. Most of the teachers are not shy about talking about them either. And we want to support your students as much as possible, obviously, in the classroom if they are in our classrooms as well. So we're there to help as well. So we're also a part of the team. Just reach out and just be as open as possible so that we know how to best serve and teach your child. Hopefully that helps.
One bit of advice that I have for parents of children who have IEPs or 504s, or maybe they don't have either one of them, but they have because either they didn't qualify or because you haven't even started that process yet, but your child needs a little extra support. As soon as you know who the teachers are, email them, introduce yourself and your child. And if you have a 504 or an IEP, I just email it to the teachers in case it takes a little while for them to get it. Sometimes kids may have behaviors that, the teacher may not know that are related to their disability or the difficulty, and you kind of don't want them to to peg your kid as a disruptive one from day one. So I just like to partner up with teachers and let them know, this is my child, this is what we've done, this is what we're hoping to accomplish this year. I've never had a problem with a teacher when I've done that. So I encourage you to do that, and also be proactive. Sometimes it may be that you have a coordinator for your child's case and they're out, or there's a substitute or something. If you haven't heard from anybody and you need something, please email and call until you get someone that can support you. Just don't wait until it's too late and things get worse, right? Don't assume that someone will get to you immediately, because there's a lot going on in the beginning of the year. So that's my advice. Oh, and to teach your child to start advocating for themselves more and more. By the time they leave high school, you know, they won't have an IEP in college if they go to college. It's a whole other thing. So you want to prepare them slowly. I know it seems like a long time from here until college, but you want to prepare them slowly to advocate for themselves as developmentally appropriate.
Thank you.
I have a question. If your child does not have a phone, is there a way for parents or caregivers to communicate with kids during the during school time?
Yes, there is. I used to be a school secretary before I came into this role. So students are able to call home from our any of our offices, depending on at your school sites. Some school sites have a phone designated for students to be able to call out. And then we take phone calls all the time of parents who either need to deliver a message to the student. In those cases, depending if the student, unless it's an emergency, we typically do not pull your student out of class, or we don't interrupt their class time for that type of message. But I've had parents who call and say, you know, I need my child to meet me at this time in this specific location because I'm running late, or whatever the case might be. And as soon as, you know, we see that maybe the bell will ring in about 5 minutes, and usually that's the downtime for a lot of classes, that's when we go ahead and take the opportunity to make that phone call to the teacher and deliver the message to the student directly. So there are different ways that you can communicate with your student, even if they don't have a phone.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Of course.
About the phones though, if you're texting your kid and they have the notifications on, or calling them during class, they might get in trouble. So just know that it's like being at work, right? You should probably not contact them unless it's an emergency, especially because I know my kid just turns all his notifications off. He doesn't want to get in trouble. So during school hours, I can't contact him because he's learned a hard way probably. So yeah, just know that.
Of course, I totally understand. I would love to be able to just like shoot an email message that he or she could read, you know, when they have a break, but apparently that's not an option.
You could do that. They have an email. They have an email.
They do
Ms.
have
Millis,
an
do you want
email.
to take that?
I thought
was-
that they aren't allowed to get outside contacts, like from a family member.
Oh, that's right. That's the
Yeah.
reason. I was going to say,
I'm so sorry.
I will just shoot an email to my kid, but I'm in the district. So it's district email to district email. So I guess
No.
we're just special that way. Yeah.
The only way
you're
that
right.
works is
You're
if they have a phone with another email account on it. But if it's a PUSD account, you cannot, unless you're a teacher, you can't send them in.
That would be an idea though. I know my child has a separate email that she uses to, you know, to communicate. So with friends and with her dad. So you could actually establish an email that you could send that email to, and she can check it on her Chromebook.
Oh, so they can go like outside, like check an external
Google.
email address.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And then I do also have parents who will like if we have students who do turn off their notifications, and maybe a parent really feels like I need to make sure that they got this message, because I would probably be the same way once my kids get to that age. You can call the school and just say, hey, I sent them a text, because I've had those phone calls too. I sent them a text and this was what it said. Can you just confirm with him that they received it and that they got it? You don't need to call me back, but I just want to make sure that they did see that message. So something like that will also work. It's a very flexible space, even though, you know, if they're going into a middle school. So
Thank you so much.
Just a quick thing, that this is a good time to start training your kids to be more self-reliant and more responsible, so that things like making sure that they leave their backpack and all the stuff that they need for the day by the door, as opposed to then calling you and asking you to bring them their instrument, their, you know, this, that. So it's going to take a while, but it's worth training them.
Do we have any additional questions? I'll check one time to see if anybody has their hand up since I can't see everyone at once. Doesn't seem like it. All right. So I guess we'll just we'll end it here. Thank you again to Laura, to Ms. Milnes for joining us and giving us all your insights and your input. Thank you to all of you who took the time this evening to join us. I hope that you found all this information to be super informative. You have all of our contact info, so please feel free to reach out to anyone if you have any additional questions. Thank you again and have a great evening, everyone. Bye.